Beautiful thing that's going on is that, I'm not a big person in any of the things. I just help out a little bit, and all the people I help out, I go and do the San Francisco Veterans Project, and that's a global thing, the Veterans Project. Actually, the man that runs it goes, and he does murals all over the country to support amazing political statements against genocide and other important things. And what it is that all these people that I keep meeting are linked together, but they don't know each other, and they're working with each other so strong that it's like, soon it's just all this little whisper, it's just going to turn into a yell, because it really is everywhere, and all these people are linked up, and we just don't know, but they're so closely knit, and we're all helping each other, and that's the most beautiful thing about this whole movement. And everybody I meet each day just knows somebody else and is working really close with this person and that person, but we're not talking about it, we're whispering, but then soon we're going to yell.
Why are they whispering?
Because when doing something like this, you can't be as open as you want to. You want to be open, you want to be in your face, but you also don't want to get the wrong impression from other people. Certain people look at this and say, oh, it's just a bunch of bums trying to hold down the space, and they don't really look at it for what the real goal is. Just because people look a certain way doesn't mean that they're going to turn it into a crusty bum squat, and that's what they think. We want to make it a beautiful land, usable for everybody, and have that everywhere. And some of the other countries, it's even harder than out here in the U.S., especially in San Francisco. I mean, we're so liberated here, and we're still not,
Still not.
So that's why it's got to be a whisper, but, when everything starts quiet and goes slow and, moves around, then it could just build up, and it just at once, all over on a global scale, we could all just take it back.
Say it.
We could yell, man.
Tell me then, for the people who don't know about this and don't understand what you're talking about, what is the thing that all these groups agree on? What is the goal? I won't say the mission. That sounds a little
to free up the land and not have harmful products fed to us without a choice. And to spread knowledge. But that's basically it. We have a right to be here. We don't need to live this certain way, and that's the goal in my eyes. I'm not exactly sure what the full goal is, but it's all about those things put together.
It's all about the people's ownership of things. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Is that another way of saying it?
Yeah.
That the people, is that like minus governments?
It includes them too. They're still the people.
Now here's a stupid question. What makes you think the people don't own it now? What are the signs that the people don't own it?
Well, it's that they do own it, is what it is. And the signs are, people just don't care. There's litter everywhere. There's, people just saying, oh, I can't afford organic. They don't really look into it. They don't understand what they're eating. They're just so worried about, I can't afford it. They just got, a foot on their throat and something in their ears, and they can't hear and they can't speak. So they need to, they're not free. They're held down because the word isn't out as much as it could be.
What are they held down by?
By eating harmful products.
That's partly true, because if you're eating harmful products, you're not, as you and I agreed a moment ago, you're not doing your brain any good.
Yeah.
Maybe it kind of confuses your thoughts, or could.
It definitely could,
You had your foot up a moment ago, and I didn't get there fast enough. It was like you were putting your foot on somebody's neck. Who's the foot?
It's the government's foot on the people's throats. Even though we could speak, it's just they're putting you down, because the main thing when everybody's like, oh, eat organic, the main thing everybody says is, I can't afford it, and that's because they make it that way, and it shouldn't be that way. Why do you need to charge more to put less? That's what I don't understand.
So they agree, the people, quote unquote, agree to pay more. They agree. They don't
have a choice, really, because it was done so sneakily. It was just done behind everybody's back, and before you know it, then that's all that there is to get, unless you pay an arm and a leg, and people just don't understand the importance because it's not blatantly shining in their face. You know what I mean?
And over generations, it is like boiling the frog. It happens so slowly and so insidiously over generations that your generation was born into it. the generation before you was seeing some of it happening, and before that, they were seeing a little bit more of it happening and didn't realize it was happening. You know the old thing about boiling the frog? You boil a frog slowly, and he doesn't notice it because his body temperature adapts, but then one day he ends up boiled to death.
Yeah.
And that's what happens over generations. I suspect a lot of people in your generation don't know this has happened. And mine too, because they didn't see. It was so slow, like Monsanto and their GMO foods. They were doing all that in secret. They knew what they were doing.
They did. They had excellent tactics to slowly just take everything over, and now there's legal battles. But they planned it out. You know, the military does things, you know, their technology is 40 years in advance. So what we're seeing now is what they did 40 years ago. So I can't even imagine what they have in store for us and what's planned and what their actual goal is. I can't fathom it. I try, but I just don't know what they're trying to do. And
you know, I've been studying it for a long time, and I can't figure it out either. I have a lot of speculation, and people like me have speculated a lot, but they're not talking to us. Right. So we really don't know. And there are there aren't a lot of them. There's a small group of them, but in that group there are a lot of different people doing different things too. So their goals might be a multiplicity of things. And there's no communication, and the media blocks everything. So there's no free communication between these two sets of the people and whoever is controlling this thing.
yes.
You agree with that?
I totally agree with that.
Can I ask you a personal question, and I'll take this out if you don't want me to?
Sure.
Can you tell me your age?
I'm 26.
Is that okay to leave in there?
Sure.
Okay. All right. When did you become aware of all this? How old were you, and when did you start doing your, we'll call it activism, or your contribution? And you're an artist.
Yeah,
right?
I'm an artist. I've always kind of tried to go against the grain, and my parents are kind of radical type of people. You know, they do a lot of support stuff out in New York, and that's where I'm from. So I kind of grew up around that. I guess the biggest thing I went to was the Republican convention back when I was in high school, like right before I was able to vote. I was really into that when they were trying to, you know, make Bush president for the first time. And that's when I got really into all this other stuff and, you know, starting to read up on different things. And then Occupy happened a couple years ago in New York, and I was there for Occupy Wall Street and all that stuff. And
were you really?
yeah, I was out there, and I camped a couple days, but, you know, I went in every day pretty much for a few months and just, you know, met lots of people, talked about plans, actions, what was really going on. And then I came out here at the end of the Occupy Oakland and just been involved out here with this group, you know, with mainly Mr. Roots here that does these beautiful things, because I'm really in it for the earth, you know. Above and beyond everything else, I want to fix the planet. That's the most important to me. So
our planet on which we live.
yes.
You want to start at ground zero, the ground.
Before the mother shakes the fleas off of her, we better start helping her out, you know.
You're absolutely awesome. And I was gonna ask you a question about your awesomeness, but I see you looking at your thing. So thank you for this statement. What brought you out? We'll ask you this. What brought you from New York City out to Oakland and then to California? Do you just like the idea of coming to California, or
actually,
you
no.
had people here, or what?
I went out here on a musical tour, an art and music tour, and every time I come out to San Francisco, I just have such a love for it. I just feel like I'm at home. So if home is where the heart is, and this is my home.
Oh, I'll tell you, that is great.